Hi there, I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate.
And today we're taking a look at CastleScape by Praetorian Board Games.
CastleScape is a game in which players are charged with building castles and trying to take up as much of the board space as possible with their influence. This is a game that is coming to Kickstarter soon, so make sure to check out the Kickstarter campaign by visiting the link down below in the description of the video after you've watched this video. So, let's go ahead and take a look at it on the table.
Alright, I have CastleScape on the table here. Let me explain to you how this castle building deck builder game works. I do also want to make sure to point out that everything you see here is prototype. The final artwork and components may look a little different. But everyone will start with the same 10 deck of cards here. You have your 4 market stalls, which are worth 1 gold each. You have your 2 clumsy thieves, which are also worth 1 gold each. However, they are going to raise your infamy, which is a penalty that you'll have to pay at a point in the game. And you have your 2 stone walls, which are going to allow you to build walls out here. And you have your 2 apprentice cards, which are going to give you recruits, which give you influence in the area trying to gain points. And using these 10 cards, you're going to shuffle them up into a draw deck, drawing 5 at a time. And depending on what you grab, that is going to determine what you're going to be able to do this round. And so, for instance, if this was my hand of cards here, I have 2 market stall cards, which were worth 2 gold each, and the 1 clumsy thief, which would give me a 3rd gold if I want to increase my infamy. And if I choose to do that, then I play it in my back alley here, which is going to, again, raise my infamy whenever I have to reshuffle my draw pile. Infamy is going to remove influence off the board, and it's going to reset to wherever my corruption level is, which starts at 0, but if I have to raise it throughout the course of the game, then my infamy is only going to go back to wherever my corruption level is. So you want to try to keep both of these down as best as possible. With the gold that you have, the first thing you're going to do is purchase new cards from the market. And you have 2 different types of markets here. You have your rotating market cards, which are the green ones that are going to be replaced after you purchase them. And then you have your standard consistent market cards. These are the blue ones. These are going to stay out here for every turn for every player to purchase whenever they want to on their turn. This last card right here is a way to get new contract cards. I want to point this out because at the beginning of the game, you start off with 4 contract cards dealt to you. You choose 2 to keep, 2 to discard, and these are basically ways to get in-game points by fulfilling some sort of objective. And again, you can get new ones by visiting this card. Now, I do also want to point out on these cards here that the price you have to pay is listed here in gold. And then on some of the cards, if there is this purple banner here on the right side, that is victory points that you will have if you have this card in your deck at the end of the game. So after purchasing any cards that you want with the gold you have, the next thing that you can do on your turn is play recruits. And recruits, again, are going to give you influence in the area. So for however many recruits you have, you're going to take 1 cube, placing it anywhere you want on the board, but you can't place it on top of a wall. And so I might place it right here. And after you've done any recruits, the next thing that you can do is build walls. For any walls that you have on your cards, you're going to draw them from the quarry. And so this is a separate board here. And so I have 2 walls that I get to build this turn. And I can place them anywhere on the board adjacent to where there already is a wall. And so if I were smart, I would put my wall right here, because now that I've built a wall where I have a recruit, I get to put that recruit on top of the wall, and that is very valuable. Recruits that are on ground are only worth 1 influence. Recruits that are on walls are worth 2 influence. And what I'm trying to do with these walls is eventually complete a section where there are open squares in the middle, but completely surrounded by walls. So for instance, something like so here. This is a completed bailey. That's what these are called. And baileys are any kind of section that is completely surrounded in with walls. And you have to have them all adjacent. You can't have something like that that is not connected. You have to complete it like that. Then, once a bailey is complete, you're going to see who has the most influence. Again, any cubes that might have been on the ground floor are only worth 1 influence, whereas cubes that are on top of walls are worth 2. In this case, blue player has 3 influence. No other player has any, but let's just say that there had been, a yellow one right there. Yellow would have 2 influence. Blue owns this bailey, so they're going to put one of their scoring discs in the center here to indicate that they get the points from this bailey. The point is determined off of how many open squares there are inside the bailey, so in this case 4. And you would keep track of points here on this score track right there. And that's pretty much the gist of the game. This is going to continue on and on until the quarry runs out of walls, at which point then an inspection will take place. And you can see how many inspections are going to be in each game depending on the number of players, and you keep track of that right here on this inspection track. When an inspection happens, you're going to go back to your board here, and you're going to see wherever your infamy level is at. Wherever your infamy level is at, then you are going to remove influence cubes from this board, again going back to wherever your corruption level is. And you want to try to keep that corruption level because your infamy is going to reset to wherever it's at. So if your corruption gets high, then your infamy is going to stay high likely too throughout the course of the game. At the end of the game, wherever your corruption level is, you are going to lose points. So double the penalty there on that. There's also a set of goal cards that you are trying to accomplish throughout the game, such as, for instance, completing 2 baileys in a single turn. If you're the first player to do that, you get to claim this card, and it's worth 5 points to you. Whoever has the most points from the baileys, from goals, and from contracts, as well as cards that you've purchased that give you points, that's going to determine who the winner is, and that is how you play CastleScape. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts.
All right, we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on this game and a little bit of what we liked and maybe what you can expect when you play it for yourself. Sam, you're a non-gamer. What'd you think about CastleScape?
When Lance first started explaining it to me, I didn't think that this was a game I was going to really like. I wasn't sure about it, and it seemed a lot more complicated. It took me probably about the first 10, 15 minutes to really start getting into it, but then I figured it out and I got my strategy down, and it was very enjoyable after that. It just took a little bit of a learning curve, I guess, and I don't think that would be the case for most gamers, but I think with non-gamers, the learning of the game can sometimes be the hard part, but overall, it was a very easy game to play.
Now, I think what I picked up with you saying right there, Sam, is that the learning curve on this game is not a huge one, and it's not overwhelming or overburdened.
Yeah. It just, that was the difficult part for me, is I wasn't super interested in it when I first heard about it and Lance first explained it to me, but then once I started playing it, understood it, and got the strategy down, the strategy of this game is a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah, and I would agree with that totally. I like the combinations of deck building, creating your deck of cards that you're going to be using to kind of get your engine going and really get in the swing of whatever the theme of the game is, with that spatial aspect of putting out your walls and your influence cubes on the board, trying to complete those squares, cutting off other players, which she's a champ at. She destroyed me at this game. I am no good at this game. She's really good.
I think it's a woman thing. It's the spatial awareness and knowing and being able to think a few steps ahead, whereas I think Lance is very much,
what can I do right now?
Right now.
Yeah.
But it was fun to be able to be good at a game, I guess.
It's fun to beat me, is what she's saying, yeah. But I still had a good time with this game, too, because every turn you can come up with a game plan. You get your 5 cards, and you're like, okay, this is what I've got. I can get these cards, I can put these walls, and I can make this happen right here. I can put my cubes, and then you make it happen.
Yeah.
And then your opponent goes and they're doing the same thing. And so it's just like, well, anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah.
And it just keeps kind of going back and forth. And that's a really cool experience that you get to have with this game. we didn't get a chance to play it at 4-player count. I would be really curious to know how it looks on the board with 4 players battling for the space.
I don't think it would be as high scoring as it was.
No,
with
definitely
more players.
not. Yeah, I think with more players, you're gonna be scraping and clawing for completing those Baileys, and so I think this is a fantastic combination of deck building with that spatial, just trying to complete those squares. I think that's a really cool idea that you've got in this game here, with the theme that is so cool of you're building a castle and you actually have the little 3D castle blocks. I mean, that's just so cool. It's almost like a toy, but it's a really fun game, and it's a thinky game too.
Yeah,
very strategic. So
I think this game is perfect for the gamer non-gamer relationship. Like, I really think it hits the nail on the head for both parties. I think it's simple enough and straightforward enough for a non-gamer, but has the strategy and the thinkiness for a gamer.
Wow.
But yeah, I think it's great for that.
Man, she really likes it. I didn't know you liked it that much. That's awesome.
I'm just saying it's a good game.
Now, I think one of the things I wanted to say in my review on this is that this definitely gives me feelings of other deck builders, some well-known deck builders out there, such as Dominion and Clank. I got a lot of strong feelings of Clank playing this game. Just that market of, you can take one of the cards that's in the rotating market if you can afford it, or you can get one of those consistent cards that are always there. Just some classic deck building mechanics used in this game that are tried and true, and they're going to bring you back to those classics and really tie you in with that. Hook you in with that, but then you've got a new, fresh take on it with this theme and that spatial castle building mechanic. This is just a really cool way to take it to a different level. So, high marks for CastleScape here. We really had a good time with this one, and can't recommend it enough. So, that's CastleScape, Praetorian Board Games. It's on Kickstarter right now. Make sure to check the campaign by visiting that link down below in the description of the video.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content. And also check out our website. We have our own apparel now, so if you're interested in having a Love to Hate shirt, check it out.
All right, there you go. I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.